All right, Chevra. Good afternoon, everybody. Good Chodesh. We're getting into the time of Sefirah that everybody observes. As soon as Rosh Chodesh is over, everyone agrees that there's, according to various practices, shouldn't really use the word minhag, because the minhag is really only something, according to the Rambam, a minhag means something that is universal, like Hoshana Rabbah is a minhag. I prefer that's a custom. I prefer the term hanhoga, which I guess would mean a practice. The practice of most of the Klal Yisrael, and we're not supposed to be Perish from the Tzibur, is to observe some what we could call minhagei avelus, some customs of mourning, to mourn various things. Two main things. One is the death of Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students, and the other is the Crusades and the Jews that were attacked during the Crusades during this time between Pesach and Shavuos. The Mishnah also mentions that some say that the suffering in Gehinnom actually only happens between Pesach and Shavuos, between Passover and Pentecost. There's such an opinion. In any event, there's a lot of misunderstanding as to what this mourning is, what one is obligated to do. So first things first, there's really no obligation at all. The mourning itself is not mentioned in Chazal. It's not mentioned in the Talmud. It's something that comes along later in history, and so therefore we should respect it, but also be informed about what exactly it is. So most of the books that mention these customs tell us is that there are three main things that one should avoid during this time customarily: is weddings, haircuts, and buying new clothing or wearing new clothing. And some say you could wear the new clothing on Shabbos. So if you get some new clothing, you could wear it on Shabbos. Clothing that you'd have to say shechianu. We're not talking about socks, underwear, things like that, but a new suit, something like a new dress, something for a woman, something like that. That's what we should avoid during this time. There's absolutely no mention of music. And this idea that you have to have Sefirah music, that you have to have... the earliest mention that we have is maybe 150 years ago, if that long ago. There are those who try to don a kal v'chomer. They try to judge an a priori argument to say, well, if you're not allowed to have weddings, you're not allowed to dance and sing, certainly not allowed to have music. That should be understood in the light of the idea that there are those who hold that in our day and age, music is totally forbidden because we're mourning for the temple and we should not listen to music. In general, this is not the accepted halacha, even though there were tzaddikim who did follow like this. And so therefore, really, there's no more of a prohibition against music during Sefirah than there is any other time of the year, during the counting of the Omer, than any other time of the year. And so if one wants to be pious and avoid listening to music and do that as a devotion, I would say Tavay Olav Bracha. He'll be blessed for doing such a thing. But certainly there's no prohibition against listening to music at this time. And the fact of the matter is, most people are lenient to not observe the entire time, even when it comes to weddings and so forth. The minig interesting that I grew up with is we didn't cut our hair all throughout Sefirah except on Lag Boimer. And I myself, I don't cut my hair on Lag Boimer either. But my son did last year. A 3-year-old boy, if his birthday's during Sefirah, then it's before Lag Boimer, then you cut the hair on Lag Boimer. So my son, he turned 3 on Pesach Sheni. Now he's turning 4, Mir Hashem. And my youngest son, Azay is this. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point that I'm bringing out is there's absolutely no prohibition. Now, if you're going to have, let's say, a bar mitzvah, say when my son becomes bar mitzvah on Pesach Sheni, so out of deference to those who have this pious practice of not listening to music, we won't have a band, right? And we won't have a DJ or anything else. Mirz Hashem at his bar mitzvah on Pesach Sheni, Mirz Hashem, 9 years from now. But with that being said, nonetheless, if you have a hard time, you want to listen to music, you're in the car, it helps you concentrate on the road, whatever it is. Certainly you're by yourself and it's recorded music and there's all these different heterim. There's no reason whatsoever to not listen to music. Don't feel bad if you have that need, because especially you need it for mental health to get through the day. It's something, it helps you psychologically, spiritually. Don't beat yourself up if you can't not listen to music, because there's absolutely no reason not to listen to music. And I know many of my rebbeim who they do listen to music during Sefirah. They don't even see it as being a pious thing. I respect it as a pious thing, and I recognize what it is, but we have to be educated. We can't, go around prohibiting things that are really not prohibited. In a certain way, it's almost as bad to prohibit that which is permitted as it is to permit that which is prohibited. We say in the Vida Agadol of Rabbeinu Nissim on Yom Kippur Katan, and some people say of Yom Kippur, this is Mashech Marte Kalti, Mashech Kaltech Marti. So it says, that which you held to be strict, I was lenient with. That we understand why that's a sin. If God considers something to be important and we're lenient about it, we understand why that's a sin, right? It's pretty obvious. We don't even have to understand that. We don't have to explain that. But he says the same thing in this confession, in this vidoy. He said, in that which you have considered lightly, we consider to be seriously. We were that which you were lenient about, we were strict about. Now we could understand that meaning to be things that are not spiritual, things that are our own things. I understand that. Really, the truth is nothing's not spiritual, but things that are not have no religious aspects to them. Could understand that. So we have our hobbies and things that we enjoy in life, and we feel very strict about those things, and not as much about the religious devotions. That could be one understanding of that. But another understanding could be, like we said, that when it comes to religious things, that which God was lenient about, and not only God but our sages were lenient about, there was no such thing, and we are being strict about this, and it's to our detriment, and it could make us feel very uncomfortable and make us maybe even have some irreverence and some irreligious feeling, some anger about religion because of that, and it's unnecessary, and we're being strict about something that God was lenient about, and that our sages were lenient about. There's no rabbinical prohibition. It's not a minik neviim. It's something that came about perhaps later in history, and then once that existed, that we're going on and making it even more strict than even it was when it was made. We're being more religious now than we were then. We have to confess such a sin. That's not a good thing. That's something that there's a problem with that. Mashe she'akalta achmarti. That which you were lenient about, I was strict about. That's a sin that we have to confess. And so we have to find a good balance. If this is the way that you conduct yourself, Shalom al Yisrael. But if you have a different way, and if you want to be strict, but don't be strict on other people, be lenient to other people. You want to be strict for yourself. Especially, it's not a law. It's not even like you want to argue at something like Chol of Yisrael, which was the Takanas Chazal, and then we find kulas about it, and this and different ways of learning it. It's a different thing. This is not a Takanas Chazal. This is Chazal only mention it historically and agadically. They don't mention it halachically. They don't mention it a minig. So again, this is something we do, and we should be strict. And what does it hurt not to take a haircut? What does it hurt to push off a wedding a few weeks? What does it hurt to? What's the other thing? You have enough clothes to not buy any new clothes you bought for Yontiv anyway. But beyond that, you don't be strict where you don't have to be. This idea of not listening to music during Sefirah, absolutely no reason to not listen to music. You want to be strict. You want to just listen to the a cappella music. You want to do that. You're not doing anything wrong. But don't drive yourself crazy, and certainly don't drive other people crazy. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you later.